Okay, so let's look at a unique component because more and more individuals are merging different households, which are changing
Mhm.
aspects of what we should say is culture. Now, for you guys, this is very unique because, of course, if you guys haven't picked up yet, you hear that accent that's coming from Anthony because he is from Jamaica, of course. And
Yeah.
so, how did you guys effectively merge your culture together?
Mm,
Was there like I guess if it was difficult in merging it together, or was it just so like succinct, like, hey, we had the same values, morals, concepts, or whatever, and just went from there?
the basis was the basis for our relationship as far as the culture was the same.
Okay.
So it was more or less like he grew up Christian, I grew up in a Christian household. So that was already the basis already. So
Gotcha.
it wasn't a whole lot of cultural differences when it came to religion and your walk with Christ. It wasn't something totally out of the ballpark. It was the same.
Uh-huh.
And as far as the only thing that basically I had to get used to was the accent, because there's certain things that they say, like I will say it's oatmeal, not oatmeal, like I would say it's grits or something, and he'd say, no, it's porridge.
Yeah.
So he would say, I want porridge, and I'm thinking, what is that? You know, that kind of stuff. So there was certain cultural differences when it comes to naming things, or
Mm-hmm.
it's getting used to how I do things and how he do things. And of course, their culture, they cook totally different
Mm-hmm.
than what I would do. So I
Mm-hmm.
had to then learn how to cook the way he likes it. And then he never used to eat grits. And so I
Uh-huh.
was like, how can you not have a grit? Like, you seriously, like you need this. Like, you need this in your life. You, you just gotta have grits. Like, we do grits here in
Yes.
Southern. We do grits. And so the first time he ate it, he was like, no, I can't do the grits. I can't do the grits. I'm like, you do porridge though. So you should be able to do grits. So
It's
that
a
was kind of
difference
funny. So
though. It's a
after
difference.
it was a struggle to get him with these grits. But after a while,
Yeah.
he said he would wake up one morning and he said, are you gonna cook grits? And I'm like, what?
What?
It's like, okay. So it was just a matter. So as far as cultural differences, the basis was the same. So it
Okay.
wasn't like I had to learn his religion or he had to learn mine, or the families. The only thing the difference was learning the language differences. So
Yeah.
as far as anything else, no, it wasn't hard at all, because I loved Jamaican music back then, because I used to love to dance and love to hang
Yes.
out in the club. And so I loved the music right off the bat, so it was just like, okay, okay. Yeah. Yeah. And so we love to go out every weekend together. We love to listen to the music together. So it was almost seamless. It was just meant to be at that point. Because for me,
Yeah.
I was trying to run that way, and he was coming this way, and I was going that way. And then at some point, we had to meet in the middle.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Cool. Okay, so in that system as well, what about with parenting? Did you guys have similar parenting skill sets or mindsets as it relates towards parenting or
No, I mean, he jumped right in. When I got pregnant with Lloyd, um, he was very helpful, because when I came home from the hospital, he would bathe them. The only thing I had to do was feed them, because I breastfed at that time. So he would take them and bathe them and play with them and sit with them, and I was like, this is kind of nice, you know, to have somebody so involved, because I had single girlfriends who had um, kids, but their partners was just not involved at all.
yeah.
They was just going on with their lives, and they was, would always complain and say, I'm stuck home with this baby, and he don't never come and feed the baby, and he won't come and take the
Mm.
baby. And I was sitting there, and I would almost hate to say, I ain't got that, because, I didn't want them to feel bad, because they
That
was
ain't
in
my
that
story.
situation, So I was just like, Anthony, I ain't never had that problem. He would come and take the baby, bathe him and take care of him. And he would go to work. As soon as he come in the house, he'd pick up my boy and take him. And, he was involved like the whole time. But when I had Candace, same thing. Sierra, same thing. he was just there. He just always wanted to be involved with the kids. And that to me was very appealing.
Yeah.
Because I lost my dad when I was 4 years old. So to see him interact with them was just, it was just mind blowing to me. It was good. It was very good.
I think that's very interesting, because something that you didn't observe in your household was something that you had to implement into your household and things like that. And I think sometimes that can be barriers to people when they feel like I never experienced that. I didn't know that. And so some people will use that almost as an excuse, like, well, I couldn't really give it to the next generation because I didn't have it to give. And to some
Right,
degree, that can be true. But it showed that you guys both were just like, listen, even though I didn't necessarily see it in my household, that doesn't mean that's what we have to pass on to our children. So you
right.
guys pretty much broke, so like we talked about earlier, breaking those different cycles. You guys broke
Mhm.
that cycle. You may not have thought about that it was a cycle when you were
Right,
initially doing it. It was just like, hey, we just living life.
right.
But you indeed end up breaking that particular cycle that's there.